Tribe, it's your girl Najee here, and I'm back with another video. And this video is going to be a call center story time. I have not done one of these in like, sis, maybe like a month. Like, I'm pretty sure some of you guys are like,
God damn, it's probably over.
no, it's not over yet. I will let you guys know when it's over, but like I've been saying, it is coming to an end. I'm pulling straws right now of things to talk about. But yeah, here I am again with the call center story time. I remember I thought of this story because I saw this post on Twitter where it was like, what is the worst attempt somebody has ever made at pronouncing your name? And yeah, it just made me think of this incident that is just so funny. So if you guys like my story times or just a fan of me, please give this video a big thumbs up, and I'm just gonna get right into it. So off rip, this is probably gonna be a short one. I always tell you guys with the call center stories at the end, like we're trickling down. All the major events are pretty much done, so it's like they're not gonna be super juicy, super long, but they'll probably just be funny. I would notice sometimes I would get calls from people, and when we would have new agents, like, okay, so in this time period, let me break it down. Let me not get too ahead of myself. This time period, I was still in loss prevention, but it was the beginning of peak season. That's when we have a lot of new temp hires come into Ratchet Corp. Were hired directly into Ratchet Corp instead of using like a temp agency or anything like that. And they were working in loss prevention. And these people, and I cannot blame them because it is kind of complicated to work in loss prevention at Ratchet Corp. I don't blame them for getting confused or doing the wrong things or anything like that. But every time that somebody did anything or anytime somebody took a call, they had to write notes down. Like any other company, when you call in and you know they look at your notes and your history, your phone history, and they see what the past employee wrote about you and stuff like that. So that's basically what they were trained to do, is every time you get on the phone with somebody, you write down these notes. So I kept seeing the name Peggy in the notes, and mind you, this is not a nickname or nothing. It said Peggy, bitch. It said Peggy. And I'm like, I don't know anybody named Peggy in this what's it called, in this department. So I'm thinking in my head like, okay, this might be a new person. Like maybe this is a new agent and her name is Peggy, because I kept seeing in the notes, in the order notes, being like, customer spoke with Peggy and everything's cool, or customer said Peggy told them things are all right, and customer wants to give a kudos to Peggy. And I'm like, bitch, who is Peggy? Whoever the fuck Peggy is, she's doing a great ass job because she's new, like she's doing her thing, like it is what it is, right? One day I get a phone call, and I rarely got phone calls. It's usually like a transfer because somebody had a credit card dispute on their account, and you know, they gave me a phone call. If you guys want me to tell you a story about one of the freaking scammer calls that I've got so many scammer call stories. Maybe I could do a little spin-off of that and just tell you the different scam calls or whatever, but I just assumed it was gonna be a scammer call because that's usually what gets transferred to me. Some dude in, and I'm not trying to be stereotypical or anything. This was just very common because I worked in the fraud department. I would have a lot of, you know, Nigerian dudes, Filipino dudes hit on my line trying to tell me their name is John Smith, trying to, nah, fam. So I already was expecting, you know, some scammer to be on my line, but no, it was an actual customer. And he was just telling me like,
I don't want to talk to anybody. Why do you guys keep transferring me around? I want to speak to Peggy.
Fuck. The infamous Peggy has been brought up. I don't know who Peggy is. So I'm like, okay, so sir, you just, whatever Peggy can help you with, I can help you with. Like, it's no problem.
No, I want to speak to Peggy. I spoke to Peggy yesterday, and I'm gonna speak to her today because everybody keeps giving me the runaround. Nobody knows what they're talking about. And
all right, sir, look, if you give me your phone number, I'll have Peggy call you back. Dumbest shit I could have done. Dumbest shit. I just wanted him to get off my phone. Like, okay, so my camera just overheated and I'm gonna try my best to pick up where I was at because I like really have no clue. Last thing I remember is basically I had taken down, I told this customer that I was going to have Peggy call him back when I had no clue who the hell Peggy was. So basically I just wrote in the order notes, here's this dude's number, Peggy, please call him. Like, please call him back, because that's all I could think to do. I did not know who Peggy was. I went around asking. Nobody knew who Peggy was. Like, nobody knew who Peggy was personally. Like, nobody's ever sat next to Peggy. Nobody's went to lunch with Peggy. Nobody knows who Peggy is. And there was a point where I was even like, well, maybe Peggy is like a supervisor in another department, or maybe she's a supervisor at a different location, because even though it was different locations, we all use the same system. So like, say if I worked at a Ratchet Corp in Florida, like I do, I would see the notes of somebody in Ratchet Corp that worked in, I don't know, New York or something like that. Like, it was all interchangeable. So I was like, maybe Peggy is a different person, and there's really nothing that I could have done anyway. So let me just go ahead and write in these notes and let Peggy know this is the student's number and he wants to be called by you and only you personally, which is also really against what we try to do at Ratchet Corp, because I don't know about any of you guys' jobs, but it's like one of those things where if you can help them, help them. Don't let them say, I want to speak to this person in specific, unless it is like a supervisor they have already been working with. But like, don't just keep, because like that's something a lot of the new people would do. They would just like flood the notes with, they only want to talk to Naja. This is Naja's order. She only wants to talk to Naja. Like, no bitch, I'm gonna need you to try to solve this problem. But I was genuinely convinced that Peggy was probably at a different location. So, you know, keep getting calls asking about Peggy, or like I'll see on the order notes, Peggy this, Peggy that, right? So one day I got a phone call, and it was a customer basically asking me to do something that I didn't have access yet to do at that time. Now, if you guys remember my coworker Risha, she was in a few of the Storytime movies. Still cool with her, she's a dope ass chick. Risha was actually, I want to say she was a team lead at this time, because the previous peak season she was actually a team lead in customer service, but this time she was a team lead for the dispute section or whatever. So Risha had access to certain things that I did not have access for. She had been doing the dispute job for like almost like 5 years or so, and it was only my second year doing it, so she just had a little bit more access than I did. And what the customer was asking me to do, I could not do on my own. So I was like, all right, sir, and I was like, all right, sir, I'm about to transfer you over to my supervisor, Risha. She's gonna be able to help you, okay? So I called Risha. Mind you, Risha and I are like sitting really close to each other, kind of like I'm over here and she's right there, but we're in the same aisle. And I called over and I switched, and I was like, hey Risha, I have a customer on the end, and you know, he needs some help with this, and you know, can you help him? And she was like, yeah,
sure.
So before you disconnect, you have to make sure that, you know, the customer can hear the other agent for sure before you disconnect. You can't do what's called the cold transfer. You can't just call them, then hang up and just hope that it connects, because sometimes it won't. So she talks to the customer and she was like,
hi, my name is Risha. How could I help you?
The customer responds, I shit you not. The customer responds,
oh, hey Peggy, how are you?
then the gears started turning, but they were unturning as well, because, oh my fucking God, what?
You want to tell me why I just washed my whole body with shampoo? And you got the nerve to answer me like that when I'm just asking you a question. That's so rude, man.
Bro, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I bought shampoo. Oh my God. We gotta go back out.
Am I even clean?
I don't know. I don't think you're clean. I'm not really sure. Sorry about that. But yeah, it started to turn in my head that like Risha is Peggy, but then the gears grinded back, because I'm like, how the fuck do you get Peggy from Risha? And mind you guys, like Risha's real name sounds like Risha. Like it just has a few more syllables, but it sounds like Risha. How the fuck do you get Peggy from Risha? So like I hang up and, you know, I wait for her to get done with the call, and I walk up to her and I'm like, Risha, you're Peggy? And she's just like,
child, I've been dealing with that for years. I don't know where people get it from, but whenever I say Risha, like they just hear Peggy. I don't get it.
and I'm like, how the fuck do you get Peggy from Risha?
I don't know. I really don't know. Like, it's just so weird. Like, you saw on the phone, I told him my name, you told him my name, and he said Peggy.
And I'm like, but Risha. These are multiple customers saying Peggy. Like it had like what like what? Like it doesn't make any sense. So you know, from then on, whenever I saw Peggy in the damn notes, or whenever I saw somebody looking around for Peggy, I would just let them know like Peggy is Risha. Like for whatever reason, these people hear Peggy when her name is freaking Peggy. Like Peggy, like it would make sense if, you know, she was like, hi, my name is Risha, and they were like, hey Rachel, like, you get what I'm saying? But no, Peggy. How does that? So yeah, that is when the Peggy mystery was solved. My ass over here thinking this is like Scooby-Doo and it's a Ratchet Corp urban legend and Peggy is haunting the notes or some shit. Like, no, these people just cannot hear. Or I don't know. Like, I really don't know. But that shit was funny as hell. And like every time I would hear somebody on the phone and they would pick up and they would call me and be like,
hey, can I speak to Peggy? And
I'll be like, oh, you mean Risha? Yeah,
Peggy.
What? Like, what are we doing? I don't get it. I really don't. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had like some outlandish, far left, wrong as hell pronunciation of your name. I would love to hear it. And guys, if any of you guys are out there who are like me and who have a pretty uncommon name, please do not settle for people calling you shit. Like, don't settle when people like give you a nickname or something like that. Like, no, educate people, show them how to pronounce your name. Like, I used to do that when I was younger. Like, I used to settle, like, people used to call me Naji or Nani and stuff like that because they couldn't pronounce my name. I had some people calling me Najee or like Nadia. Like, nah, my name is Naja. My name is not Nija. My name is not Najee. My name is Naja, okay? Don't let anybody try to, like, if you can pronounce freaking all this other type of shit, they could pronounce your name, okay? Don't settle. Well, that is it for this story time, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I told you it was gonna be a little bit short. But, yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye.